Hello again, welcome to Coding Academy. This is one of the best courses that I have chosen for you, and it is about the advanced layout with the Flexbox and the grid, and it is one of the best technologies that is used to build the responsive website. I hope you have already installed this VS Code Studio. It is one of the best software that is multi-language, and it is able to support different language that even programming from Python to Java and JavaScript, something like that. Today I'll be talking about this simple HTML and the CSS. It is very simple, it is very understandable just to follow this course, and I hope if you didn't make the subscribe or even liking this video, and I encourage you to be either the first one to like this course or comment on this course so that you may promote me on the next level, and the people keep coming, so it is the crucial support for you. So don't hesitate, let us dive into this course. So come here on this advanced HTML and arrow the exclamation mark, and when you do that with a shift exclamation mark, you get this image abbreviation. The first thing that I'll be creating is a simple code. For example, I will arrow my section to say my section. No, Control Z like that. So with a section dot, which is the class container like this, and when I do an enter, you can see I already have this big section with the codes inside like this. And allow, for example, an image. With the image, let us load this by JPG and give it another the image like this, and I may allow simple title with the article like this, and this article will be having header 2 saying the product 01, for example, and allow the P, which is content description like this, and use simple like rem, for example 14 like this, and below that simple HTML put there the button and you allow to buy the item like this, and the Control Alt P. You can see the image is very huge, so it's very huge. It is not responsive, so I'll be doing the thing in the coming time. Don't have big problems. So come inside this div and you copy select time like this, Control C, Control V, and change this image. For example, I want another image from there, and I want the image to be by 2, and below this div again I'll put there another code, and I allow it to have, for example, image like this, and take that ice JPEG, and you can see with this we have a very non-responsive website that is looking very shabby. So to begin with responsiveness of the website, there is something that you can begin with. You connect that advanced CSS to this HTML by saying link with href, which is advanced CSS like this, and you allow body with padding set to 0 pix, margin 0 pix, and you allow box sizing to be border box like this. This is the first thing that you must care about. And then you take, for example, you want our image to be responsive at the first. You must say our image must be the supplied block like this with width, which is 100%, and you allow object fit to cover its container in the specified space, and you can see our our image is now being responsive. You can see when we do an inspection, it is acting like responsive. You can see this is how responsiveness acts like. So let us keep modifying our website so that it looks very fine and very good. So you may give, for example, the div with the background color. For example, I want, for example, black with the color white, like this. Control S, and you allow image. You give, for example, border radius of 10 pixels, like that, and you allow border radius of this image to inherit its parent. Nothing yet released, but you can see there is something that is happening with these cards, and something that I want with this card, I want them to have the padding that is, like, for example, let's say you want 5 pixels, like this. You can see, and our image, I wanna give my image border of, for example, 1 pixel solid purple, like this, so that it will be looking very fine and professional. You can see there is something that is happening there. And then let us deal with the section. When it comes to this section, we are going to make other thing more responsive. So you take that simple section and say that container to be this, to the supply grid, for example, and then you allow gap, grid gap or gap to be, for example, 10 pixels, like that. And then you set grid template columns to repeat although fit, like this. And then you take min max like this, and put there, for example, 12M by 1FR, like this. Control S to save, and you can see something that is happening. What is happening? It's not yet changing. Container supply glade auto fit minimax by 1FR, that is auto fit, and you set its minimax, like how the comma was the problem. And I hope something that is missing there is word. So left M, like, for example, let us first use, for example, 250 pixels, 250 pixels, like this. Let's see whether there is something that changed there. What is happening with this item? The supply glade gap must be there. Grid template column must be repeat by auto fit. Min max with 200 pixel by 1FR. Let's see the mistake. Let's first use the grid template column, like 1FR, 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 like this. One fraction unit. Yes, there is something that is changing there, and I want to have to have them being responsive. So to make them responsive, there is something that you can do with one fractional unit. So repeat auto fit min max auto fit with the min max of this not being in the bracket like this, and then you can take this simple. The mistake was that this line was in the bracket, so hope I have diminished the cause, and now you can see how it is up. It is working like, and when you inspect, still it is working under responsiveness. You can see this simple responsiveness is very crucial, and you can give this section container the padding of, for example, 20 pixels like this, and you can see now there is something that must happen there, and you can see it is working very well. And on the button you can say I want the button, my button, to have the background color to green, color set to white like this, and font weight to bold like this. And when you set border tone on, you must remember border radius of, for example, 4 pixels, and you allow the padding inside, which is, for example, .4m, .8m, 8m like that. So here you can even come here and say I want 12m to act in accordance. So you can see on the button there is something that is happening there. Hey, you can see it is working very well. And you allow, for example, on the button, and you say I want them to hover. You can see it's a hover, transform scale being 1, for example, .2, and on the transition or control Z, all must be 200 millimeters per second is in like that, and you allow the image on hover to give, you must first give it the transition, or must be, for example, is in note like this, and you give the property of the hover here, hover like this, and then you allow its scale like that to be, for example, 1.03. Control S to save. Boom, now you can see you have already changed your visualization of your cards, and it is working very well. Hope you understand how it is working, and then you may take that article like this to have a retro bit padding, and you set its padding, for example, to 10 pixels, and when you do this you can see something have happened. There is a spacing between this thing, and then you can allow even that div to have a transition, but it is not even very useful. Hope you have followed along with this responsive part that we've been dealing, and you can see how it is working very well on the simple. You can see on the smallest media like this, I don't know whether it exists, but if it exists it will be looking like this. So this is the fine of this course. Hope you've liked this course. Don't hesitate, just share, like, and subscribe. It's a very important use on us, and I hope you'll be returning to see the next video that I'm going to put on this channel that is related on advanced coding.